We have 1 month remaining in 2025, and we are hoping to finish it with strength. We definitely thought that we were going to be a lot higher than a $2 XRP to start the last month of 2025, but that's where we're at. And in today's update, I want to explain what I'm expecting as we finish off the 2025 year. Now, we're seeing great appreciation on our defensive measures, silver busting up to a new all-time high. But over in the cryptocurrency space, we're watching the space continue to struggle as the liquidation event of 1010 is still giving us ripple effects and forced selling, basically margin calls still taking place here into December over a month and a half later. And this is very unfortunate for those of you guys that are new to the space, not understanding what's taking place. There's so many great fundamentals and catalysts lined up for crypto. But if you're new here, you're just trying to understand, well, with all this good news, why is the price still going down? So we're going to explain that. We have the November market cap multiplier update, and then I'm going to explain what I expect for our 2025 finish. So without further ado, let's get into the update. All of our community resources are available at zachrector.com. Silver prices surge to $58 per ounce for the first time in history, now up officially 100% in 2025. And I did see somebody in the Discord mention that it actually went up to about $59 this morning. So by the end of the day, we could have, hit a $60 silver. And so silver on an absolute tear this year. Silver now up more than 6 times as much as the S&P 500 in 2025. Keep watching precious metals. They know what's next. And let me grab my silver bar right here. See, we've been explaining how our defensive measures, at least for me, right? I don't give financial advice. I just explain what I'm doing and how I'm positioned. On the defensive side of my portfolio, I have silver and cash. Okay, on the offensive side of my portfolio, I'm over 90% XRP, which has actually been doing really well. This portfolio, the way that I have it structured, has been tremendous because our defensive measure is outperforming the stock market by 6 times, up 100% this year. Not too bad for a quote-unquote defensive measure. And then on the offensive side, we've had XRP, and it's done really well. That goes without saying. But obviously, we've been down off of our highs this year, up at $3.66, back down at $2. And so this has a lot of new people in the space, feeling frustrated, feeling tired, and even folks that have been here for a while, right? Exhausted, even though XRP was just at 50 cents last year. So compared to the 50-cent prices that we were buying at last year, we're still up by hundreds of percent. But year to date, XRP is down. Now, how much is it down by? I went and checked this morning before today's update because I saw a lot of negativity. XRP's red on the year. It's negative on the year. Okay, let's go take a look. By how much? The answer is only 4%. Year to date, XRP is only down 4%. Here's the 12-month chart on XRP. Now, obviously, it's hard to spin this thing positive when we're down 45%, since our high of $3.66 earlier this year. So, it's tough to have a positive outlook when an asset's down 45% from the high. But year to date, we actually started this year off at about $2.08. We're only down 4%. And I am expecting this to turn around and to finish positive. And it's not going to take much. We just have to move back above $2.07 to 08, and you're back in the green. And so to finish off this year, I am expecting XRP to rally back here with strength. A relief rally already had started from the 1010 liquidation event. And if you look at XRP versus Bitcoin since the 1010 liquidation event, XRP has been steadily gaining against Bitcoin and has been holding up a lot better than the rest of the cryptocurrency space. Now, speaking of Bitcoin, I thought that Terra Precision Trade here on X called this one pretty well. It says Wave 2 has a textbook target at the 618 support, and you can see that Bitcoin already wicked to that level at 85.3. The structure itself does not look finished yet, though. Because of the structure, strong resistance has formed at the 382, and that is 87,600 to 88,400. I don't think Bitcoin will be able to break those levels if it pushes up now. I think Bitcoin needs to reach the critical support at 83.6 to 83.3 before it heads up to the $103,000 resistance. I'll keep you updated as it develops. So basically, she was saying this corrective wave down is not done. We're probably going to stretch out to about 83,000 before we move back up. Well, what did we do this morning? We perfectly went down to 83.8, just right above that level that she'd pointed out here. And I'm looking at the Binance chart. And so the exchanges will vary in price, but that's pretty dang close to that level that she had pointed out. So it looks like we're about to finish up this corrective wave down, and then we should be moving back up to 100,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. And, this is the same analysis that we're seeing from the likes of Tom Lee and others, which, Tom Lee's not my favorite guy, but, I think that he at least zooms out and has a pretty decent perspective on the macro trends and understanding. I mean, in fact, I shared this with the Discord group yesterday. In a recent interview on CNBC, Tom Lee mentioned not only that a market maker went bust on 1010, he'd already made that statement, but then in another CNBC interview, he actually mentioned that this is a direct quote, a third of the market makers went offline or what did they, shut down. I think he said shut down. A third of the market makers shut down on the 1010 liquidation event. And so this is why we're still going through forced selling, and this correction is still finishing up for crypto. But the good news is that we basically went down to that final level this morning. We should be wrapping this up here today and then moving back up to the upside. And so this is why I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Bitcoin rally into the end of the year, and XRP is going to be right there alongside it. Now, quick comment on this. Maybe Bitcoin, Tether, and MicroStrategy weren't the best foundational choices for crypto after all. And I'm alluding to, just all of this over leverage, the foundation of crypto being built on the top of Bitcoin, an asset that's purely speculative, no utility. Full stop. No utility, speculative store of value. That's it. So we built it on the top of Bitcoin. We built it on the top of Tether, which still can't provide reserves. Legitimate reserve attestations. They give us an update, and they don't have enough cash or treasuries to back it, but they do have Bitcoin and gold, and that gold's been doing pretty well for them. But now they're struggling with their Bitcoin, so I guess a little couple issues there with Tether. Hope it works out for them. And then MicroStrategy, which is down 55% since October 6th, and I think it was down over 70%. I don't have the full most recent tally, but this is a stock that's dumped by 70-80%. And so when you have the mouthpieces like Michael Saylor out here saying that Bitcoin's on its way to solve all the world's problems and go to $1 million, when you have Tether as the number one stablecoin and basically is the liquidity for 60% of the crypto space, that might be a problem. And then when we prop up, everybody needs to invest in Bitcoin. If you're in crypto, you have to buy Bitcoin. An asset with no utility and is purely just a speculative store of value play, maybe that's a problem. Add in offshore crypto exchanges that are allowing 100 to 500x leverage, maybe that's a problem. And so what I'm pointing at here is that the foundational layer of crypto has been weak from the start, and those of us that have been calling it out, we weren't allowed to talk about it. We've been banished, right? We've been shut down now for years because we said, we wanted to talk about ETHgate. No, can't talk about that. We're calling out Bitcoin and its flaws and how it's not quantum proof. Can't talk about that. Calling out Tether. That's Tether FUD. Can't talk about that. Michael Saylor's a god. We can't, it's blasphemy to say anything bad about Michael Saylor. Even though we're pointing and just saying, hey, well, that's fine. We hope it works out for you guys. Over here, we do have the solution. ROUSD fully backed and actually over collateralized. XRP, not only is it a store of value and we can speculate on that, but it also does provide real utility, solves a real problem as a bridge currency, right? And then companies like Ripple that have provided the highest levels of transparency since the beginning. But nobody wants to hear it because we want to pump it up, bro. Pump it up. Give me some Tether. Give me a meme coin. Pump it up. Give me some 500x leverage. And let me hit some of that, whatever Michael Saylor's on. Combine all of this with the crypto space, with the global margin call that's underway, this is why crypto is down right now. Should be no surprise for anybody. Add in the fact of how weak our economy here is in the United States of America, it should be no surprise why crypto is here where it's at. Add in the fact that the SEC versus Ripple case was extended till August, the ETFs didn't go live till November, and the Clarity Act still isn't passed. It should be no surprise why XRP is still only at $2. Now, getting in on the data, and this is what's taking place. Retail is scared and selling off XRP on centralized exchanges. This is why I tracked net outflows of 800 million for the month of November. And meanwhile, the ETFs are seeing inflows of about the same amount, right? We saw over 350 million has now been parked behind the XRP ETFs. So you're looking at, 700 million of inflows into the ETFs, but in the same month, 800 million of outflows on the centralized exchanges. Now, for those of you guys wondering where I'm getting the data from, this is over here on CoinGlass, and we tallied it up. I'm on the 1 week chart. So last week we had 19 million of outflows. The week before that, 175 million. And then this week of November 16th, we had 444 million of outflows. That is the most on record. Since CoinGlass started tracking this data, I believe that is the most on record that we have seen pulled out. I mean, you look across this chart, we have nothing that even comes close really to 444 million. And so that was a big week of outflows, 444 million. The week before that was 111 million. And then the week before that, I didn't count because that includes some days in October. So that's when I flipped to the daily. Just flip over here to the daily chart. And then I went and calculated November 2nd was 37 million of outflows. November 1st was 13 million of outflows, which is what I have right here on my sticky note. 808.33 million of outflows on XRP, from the centralized exchanges in the month of November. And so this is how the math breaks down. The market cap multiplier is a very simple equation. You take the change in market cap, which was negative 41.14 billion. Let me show you that on the chart real quick. Right here, XRP market cap was at 150 billion to start the month. And I measured down to the bottom wick to get the full effect. So we lost about 41.14 billion during the month of November. Now, obviously, we finished off the month at 130 billion. So you did have, some recovery. But basically, to capture the full effect, you had 41.14 billion of outflows from XRP. 41.14 billion of market cap loss going back. So we take our change in market cap, we divide that by the net flows, which in this month was negative 808.33 million. And this gives us a market cap multiplier of 50.89x. Now, this is a low monthly market cap multiplier for XRP. And I think that it's actually a signal that XRP is holding up really well. And the reason why this multiplier is so low, because let me give you an example. During the 10/10 liquidation event, when XRP tanked, we actually saw the market cap multiplier during that period was 1,200x. Money was flowing out at an aggressive pace that we'd never seen before for XRP. And so the multiplier during that time was 1,200x. The change in market cap divided by the change in market cap, the change in market cap divided by the net outflows gave us a multiplier of 1,200x. That was very dramatic selling. The reason why in the month of November that multiplier is at 50 is because, yes, we had 800 million of outflows, but there's a steady amount of passive buyers and passive orders sitting on the order books and people that are wanting to buy XRP right around $2. And so despite, 808 million of outflows, right? And we lose 41 billion of market cap, that multiplier is only 50 and shows us here that there's a steady lineup of buyers that are holding this thing up. And now to look at XRP here, as we finish off 2025, what I'm expecting is it's going to be up. It's going to be a relief rally from here. We've seen the worst of this in the crypto space. The fundamentals couldn't be better. It really couldn't. And what we're up against right now is the external factors. So the crypto space was able to liquidate to the tune of 19 billion of liquidations on October 10th. We're very efficient in crypto, right? And it was cascading liquidations caused by the automatic processes in the DeFi. As soon as one stablecoin depegged, blew up the whole thing. Right? And it was just cascading liquidations to the tune of 19 billion. We haven't seen a liquidation event like that ever in crypto. The problem in the stock market, in the external factors around us, is the global margin call that's underway right now, which I'm going to break this down in a separate video, bringing down XRP versus the reverse carry trade out of Japan, which is part of a bigger global margin call to the tune of 20 trillion plus. We can't even get the final tally because it's so many derivatives wrapped up in that trade. But the point being, crypto's able to rip the Band-Aid off, liquidate everybody, and kill off all the leverage in one day. In the stock market, it doesn't work like that, because if it moves too much in a day, they hit the circuit breaker. Just like when silver started to spike and they turned off the CME servers. So the broader stock market, right, that's going to take longer to unwind. That's what's holding back crypto right now. And so I wish that we would just be able to rip the Band-Aid off, get a quick crash, wipe things out over in the stock market in that global margin call that's underway. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and get it done so that we can start the recovery. But I'm anticipating that to take place here this month in December. Bitcoin back on its way to 100,000, XRP back above $2.20, and should be ready to go hit a new all-time high here in 2026. And my base case for 2026 is a $20 XRP. The $20 XRP that I was expecting this year, I was wrong, guilty for being wrong, is going to come next year. Okay? So that's where we're at. That's what I'm expecting next. Let me know in the comments down below where you guys see it. And all of our community resources are available at zachrector.com. I greatly appreciate your support. Thank you for liking this video, sharing it out far and wide, and we will see you guys in the next one. God bless you all. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.